Alright, so recording has been started. So this will be a Xiao Chao Meng, Season 12, best top laner in the world apparently. Wukong guide versus Rengar, right? So I will coach this. This is not really a guide, I mean this is more like the replay, but I assume the guy explains what he does in Chinese. Um, I will do a coaching over this thing, right? We'll see what does the best Wukong player do against Rengar in case you struggle against Rengar, right? His runes are pretty much
狮子我已
correct,
经
right?
打不过我了。
Okay, so in here he fights level 1 Rengar. Okay. Because in the fist fights his auto attacks are so good, by the way, like he just knows, like he just clicks in here, right? Like his auto attacks are like so smooth, we all can see it. He auto attacks, he never misses, like he just doesn't misses. He just doesn't misses. And in here he did a slight mistake which messed him up a little bit, so just a tiny bit. Um, so in here he didn't have Q Rengar, right? So in here if he would space a little bit towards him, there is a word where he could auto E. So let's go back a tiny bit, just a tiny bit. So in here both of them were almost dead, Rengar flashes, and in here instead of trying to walk away, his everything was up. So Rengar he didn't have Q up, right, on rotation, right? He just used his Q recently. He has no bone plating, right? 101 AD from Conqueror, right? He has 62 armor. So this means from one auto attack, 62 armor, from one auto attack he wouldn't die, right? And this would mean to me if he just tries to flash E out on the guy, he would be dead. Like even in here, I do believe like if he walked towards instead of outwards, even now 120 HP, um, I do believe it's really easy for him to just execute him. His E gives him attack speed, also it deals like 80 damage. He has 101 damage, auto attack damage in here. Uh, I do believe he would want that, right? Now, maybe there was like another slight mistake, he didn't use potion early on, right? So like another slight mistake which kinda messed him up a little bit. He didn't use the potion at the beginning of the fight. So when you're fighting a Rengar as Wukong, you're all in committing, you're not short trading, you're not bullshitting around. So that generally means if he used his potion a little bit earlier on, uh, it would be less risky, right? You can see even the Rengar is a bit late, right? Now he was just a tiny bit, like 2-3 seconds off with the potion, right? Not the end of the world, right? And in here, like, he could then just tether around, like he could then just walk and flash instead of walking away because he had no vision. The Rengar had no vision in here. So, and he had no Q. That's like the main thing. So even if he jumps in, Wukong would auto eat, right? And that would be a free kill because he has 62 armor. So, and he's healing, so he can. I think he can even tank 2 auto attacks and only a third one would kill him, but I can judge it. I can judge it, but 1 auto attack wouldn't kill him because Rengar has no Q yet. So in here a slight mistake early on. Potion wasn't timed well. Then again he could ban flash in here, right? He missed out on the opportunity. Now Rengar is stacking up his passive, so he has like 4 stacks and he has his Q up soon,
好
so
吓人啊，兄弟！
that puts
我应
him in
该
a
稳健
bad
一点，
spot, right?
这波打的不太行。
I'm gonna turn up the volume a little bit because I don't really understand what he says anyway, so okay. Ignore. We don't update the Pikmin.
一直喵喵叫，我靠！
So he walks around for some reason because he is zoned apparently. So let's see it again. He kinda zoned himself off, by the way. Like this kinda puts him in a shitty spot right now because he has 4 stacks and I'm not sure if he identified it yet, if he plays weak side or not. We can look a little bit backwards. So how do we identify if he play weak side or not? In here it was kinda hard for him. So since Rengar didn't leash, it simply means that probably the enemy bot laner is gonna leash the enemy jungler, so he could really easily battle around us, right? Now, okay. If not, he still could be in trouble because if the enemy jungler is around this area, he still could go for a level 2, level 3 gank, right? So that still puts him in a bad spot, so it's kind of a bummer.
好吓人啊，兄弟！我应该稳健一点，这波
Yep,
打的不
apparently
太
he's
行。
playing weak side as well. So as I think they lately arrived in the lane, the Nami and the other guy, so he could possibly, the enemy jungler path towards us. And in here I don't exactly know why did he go downwards. He could just walk away this side because now he gets zoned off the XP, so I do believe it's easier to stay in XP range in this area than going downwards, because maybe there is a ward where he gets level 2 ganked, right? Like you don't want to risk such, right? Like there is no reason for him to go downwards instead of staying, just walking out, right? Like maybe he was afraid of Rengar pouncing, maybe. But he shouldn't jump in the first place in here, by the way, because this exposes, like, 1 CS is not worth to risk your life, right? Because if Rengar queues from this area, maybe there is a ward with the movement speed he gets, he could just get onto the Wukong, right? So it could possibly be done, right? And in here he kind of zones himself away. So like for that one minion, is not really worth to zone yourself away,
一
right?
只喵喵叫，我靠！
Then I mean, he
打得不
doesn't
太
lose
行，
the
那怎么？
CS, so it's fine. Like he didn't lose a single bit of XP and minions, so it's actually not a big deal. But in here he had like a bit of a tethering problem, right? So in here he sees clearly the Rengar, right? Like he doesn't recognize it, how much he's in danger. I'm not sure if he's first timing Wukong, but if Rengar is here, he just gets the Q movement speed, right? Which got buffed recently. So basically he can Q and walk and just Q into you, because he doesn't get like level 2 into one minion, right? And aside of that, like this, it would be really easily dead in here. So Rengar does exactly what I said. He just gets speed, queues in, gets in, and he almost dies, right?
完了，我死！
Now Rengar could ban flash in here, or I'm not sure if he flashed
哎
earlier.
呦，
I'm not sure if
都给他加
if
速
the guy
了，
flashed
这加
earlier in
速
the
啊！
level 1 fight. I think he did
操！
actually. And now he's forced to recall, which is kind of a bummer. Even the Rengar could go for a 2 Ws in here and he would be dead. But he has bone plating, actually, it might not be 100%. See what he does. Oh, he took one tower shot. It's sadly still not enough. So Viego comes and eventually, like, because like in here this was like really good from the Viego side to recognize how much the guy is greeding. Okay. I don't like how he is moving. Like I don't believe he should risk. I mean, probably he would die either ways, right? He could just W Rengar's combo, right? But I wouldn't really try to risk it for myself. I mean, he goes invisible. Actually, it should be fine, right? Should be fine. Now let's see what else happens. He shoves this. Rengar doesn't place with TP. He plays with the ignite, so it's really easy to shove it with Viego, right? Okay, he resets. He gets that thing.
这个没办法呀，我一局没打好，应该先平 A 起手，就是让他多 A 了我一下，本来可以跟他打到底，打到底，打到
Now
底
in
好
here
像
he had like an interesting purchase, right? Like if I go a little
先
bit
平 A 起
backwards,
手
right? So he had 700 gold, he couldn't pick up some minions because of his weaker early game state and because Vigo attacked some minions off, but in here I do believe he could bang at a cloth armor, right? You could bang at a longsword, a cloth armor and a refillable potion, which would provide him a lot of fighting power. But he could also he could as well go for executioners. Might be a bit too early to rush it, but executioner is extremely good against Rengar because of his W healing. His W healing is like really strong in the early game trade, so not having anti-heal means that I mean if I think about it, for the next all-in at level 6 his ignite will be likely up, so then he will probably kill the guy, right? So that should be fine, right? He plays with ignite, so when he times his all-ins with ignites, it's not really a big problem. He does not have it, right? Now he brought offensive items apparently. He brought a longsword, potion. That's fine as well. I would go cloth armor and refillable, a bit more
破败
defensive.
帝王，
Now in here he had like a kind of a body language problem. So recently Viego was level 3 and he ganked top lane, right? Around 3 minutes, which means he could still be around because his camps are up. Scuttle Scrub was up at 3:15, right? And his body language tells, like, he exposes the fact that Viego is around now. It's not sure that it's warded or not, right? But here's the thing, like how he steps up, how he's staying in here. I do believe in this high rank that he plays in Challenger in China, right? This body language kind of gives it off that Viego is around, because it's really likely at 4 minutes he still could hover around, right? Because Drake isn't up yet. There's a ward where he sits around, right? So his body language, like him, it's really suspicious. Like if he's something like this, something like this, then it's less suspicious. But if you are hovering around for a perfect W for Viego, then it just means that you give it off, you know. It's just the body language that you give off, you know. Like hovering around this area, just yeah, just gives it off. Like it makes it suspicious. Like if you sit in here or somewhere like in here, it will less likely raise the awareness of the top laner that the enemy jungler could be around, right? And in here, he tries to force a fight, but I wouldn't. Like if Rengar has, yep. The problem is Rengar has his W, so he just escapes. Like he used his Q when everything else was up, so he could get like another rotation of passive. He got 4 stacks, which means generally what will happen, he gets a 4th Q on the Wukong, and even if Viego comes, what will happen, he will W off the Viego stun, he will get the movement speed, he will get a short trade on Wukong, so ironically enough, the Rengar was really smart in here. He knew that he read off the body language of the Wukong, and he went in, but this was intentional. He knows the jungler is around, but this was intentional because he gets a Q damage on the Wukong on auto attack, and he knows for a reason that Wukong has no CC, and Viego has a W only, right? So when the Viego Ws, he's just gonna W it off, and he gets more chip damage on the Wukong, and he's almost full HP because of his W healings, right? And he even takes accidentally a tower shot, like he greeded for 1 auto attack on the Rengar, but he was quite in the under tower range, right? So if you guys can see, even the best players in the world, sometimes they do this type of mistakes, that they step under tower when they only wanted to go for one auto attack outside of it. So in here the Viego has to stay, and we can probably dive this Rengar. Okay, the problem is the guy hasn't got any stacks. So probably in here he should ban E this, right? Then WQ ignite forward. But he can W also forward. Let's see what he does. That's fine. That works as well. So in here we just shove, right? The wave goes right under tower, as we can see. He gets a really good early advantage with the help of Viego, right? Viego even gets a plate, so he brought a Sheen. Sheen is definitely good. Executioner is a good option as well, but I think Sheen is fine. You get so many rotations of Sheen off in short trades, in all-ins, that it's not a big deal. Well, I'm not sure, like, depends what Rengar buys, right? Like, I would definitely rush Execution at some point. Right after Sheen, it's totally fine if you get Executioner. Sheen is definitely fine on Wukong if you get it right. Just you gotta time your all-ins correctly if you don't play with Executioners, right? Even with Executioners, you gotta time your all-ins correctly, right? Then he plays safely because we don't know where the enemy bot is, right? We don't know where the jungler is, so he doesn't even steps up to cube because he could be bolled by the Rengar, right? He could be collapsed on any time, so he's not risking anything. But in meantime, he does this. He could ban, like, what he should ban do. He could ban Mark like this and ward the Tri-Brush, you know, and then he would have some level of safety, right? Also, he could ban go downwards, but that's a bit risky, right? So he could ban come from inside of the map and ward it. Also, what he could do, probably just probably just soak the XP at this point, right? There's not much for him to do. There was like one more thing he could possibly do, is just check Krugs, I was thinking of, because it's close and Viego was showing mid, so maybe there is a ward where the enemy jungler steals these things. Ultra, I'm not sure if Zed is the jungler or the mid laner. Okay. So he just he doesn't want to be chipped down his HP, plays really safely. Could then get a Q off, I'm not sure why I didn't hit Q exactly. But it's really bad to trade into him because of his W, like it's just awkward. Problem is he permanently just holds into that passive, so it's difficult for him to sees an all-in angle, Viego is coming, really good. Gets a really good Q off, gets everything
我
off.
在 K 有点不太好。
He's really smart as well. He gives the kill to the Viego because he knows for a reason a jungler assassin is more likely to impact the map with his kills and with the XP he gets than a top laner. Right now, of course, he's a Wukong. He will have impact over the game, but not as much as Viego. So in here, it was really smart from his part that he gave the kill to the other guy, right? In here, just really simple, all in angle. What he could ban do, he could ban also auto attack and 10Q, but it's not a big deal, it's just a slight mistake. And in here he could ban also auto attack Q, but it's not the end of the board, of course. I'm not sure exactly if he auto attacked in between. I didn't see him autoing, but maybe I saw it incorrectly, who knows, right? Like, I do believe he didn't auto between those Qs, but let's see it in slow motion. It's just a slight mistake, but if you can stick to your opponent, then you should be able to auto in between those Qs. But it's not really a big deal. It just makes it a bit faster if you don't Q. I mean, you don't auto between Qs. But if you can, then I would definitely like playback speed. Let's slow it a little bit down. I mean, there are so many effects on the top of each other, so actually I didn't even see. It's hard to actually see it, but probably he did it, I'm not sure. It's just hard to identify it. It's hard to see it between so many effects. Okay, so he's shoving basically. He's pushing, he greets for some plates, he wants to take one plate at least. He gets like 2 really good Shin procs. Like, he recasts under tower.
我这波是让头呀，这
So
波
he
他不来
recasts
我
under
就
tower
杀了
because the minions are tanking the wave, so the minions won't aggro on him. So it's a faster recall. It's a bit unsafer, but it's a bit faster. Now let's talk about his purchase. I wouldn't really rush into Divine. Although when you get Divine, it should be really good. But I would definitely aim to get an Executioner early on. That's my personal opinion, because
我这波是
the
让
kill
头
cut
呀，
is
这波他
so
不来我也
important
杀
against the
了。
Rengar W, right? The guy has some level of healing as well from his D shield or D blade, right? So I would value more an Executioner than build into your Divine, but I assume he doesn't go Executioner because he plays with Ignite, right? He doesn't play with TP. He could also go TP Ignite, right? So I assume he didn't go Executioner because for the next all-in he has Ignite again. So I think this thought process was like he would rather rush Divine, which is good if you have it, because he plays with Ignite and Viego is permanently on top. So I guess the reason for him not rushing Executioner is because he has like every fight Ignite up. So that's his thought process, right? Like one good fight, one good Ignite, and you get the kill.
他又合体了。
I was thinking he should ban W forward, but I think he does it. Okay, he does it. Perfect.
这样子。
I don't think so he should ban ignited,
是不是跟他有
but
深
it's
仇大
fine.
恨呐？啊，不至于吧？
Maybe he underestimated Viego's or his own damage, right? But I think the ignite should be only used if the other guy flashes, because you would still be in like ignite range. But then again, this is like a small, it doesn't matter too much, right?
我不知道啊。
So in here he decides to slow push when he killed Rengar. I would actually just shove, then rotate for Herald from my personal opinion. Although Viego is ahead enough, but Fizz doesn't quite have prio. Mid could possibly rotate, the jungler could possibly rotate, but it's warded on both sides, right? It's warded in here, but we don't have complete vision. From my opinion, what I would do, I would just generally shove, but earlier. I would shove earlier this wave, then get maybe a plate, and then what we can do, we can proxy the Rengar away, right? With the Viego, but like for example in here we go a little bit backwards, right? Like we kill the Rengar and it should then picks up the wave, but I would just push it as fast as possible, because the Rengar doesn't place with TP, so there is a ward where we maybe, just maybe, get a proxy on him.
他到底是对你做了什么？上一把，我靠，我不知道啊。
Or there is like on the second option, we push this, we rotate to Herald to make it safer, then we can like collapse on the enemy jungler's buff, right? Like I would take like these 3 minions as quick as possible, or possibly I would even leave it, right? Like Echo is bot side right now. That's the Echo jungle. Yeah, like in here I would just shove. Because I do believe we can dive. We would been able possibly to proxy the guy, but he has the movement speed from the
不知道
base.
他上把对他做了什么，
When he
我怎
comes
么感
back,
觉
right?
不至于这样玩吧？
Rengar is taking his blue. Yeah, like I do believe he would have. He could
他
have
又
been
去
there
找他
already.
了。
I'm not sure if like freezing is like the best option you can go for in here, or slow pushing. I mean. Especially now that he sees this, like I would just hard push this. He should ban UCZ. He does. He realizes he needs to shove to rotate for that fight, right? Oh, he got caught. Oof. Yep, like I value here more rotating for these things, pushing than slow pushing because I don't know how did Viego die actually, but I guess that's possible as well, right? Then again, if he rotates for those things, then what will generally happen, Rengar will be probably killed, then we get the plates after, or we collapse on the Echo on the blue if he rotates for it, so that's my opinion. Stealing those camps and invading the Rengar, it would be more valuable, because for a reason like Rengar won't really like come to lane because Viego could really easily hover around top side or take Herald, right, which is kinda scary for Rengar to step up, so he rather chose to take the blue. Okay, so he's a little bit tilted of this play. Is he sleeping or sure exactly what's... Okay, so he just walks out of the base. So he actually maxes his W. Maxing W is probably still not better than maxing E. Even after buffs, I don't suppose it's better, just because you don't really get multiple rotations of Ws off in a fight. E generally provides you attack speed, more damage. I would say it's better. I would say it's definitely better if you went for an Emax. Even after the buffs, I don't believe it's really better. The only way W max is better after Q, if you go full lethality, then it would matter a little bit more to have upfront burst damage than DPS, but that's just my opinion. So now we know 4 people are dead for a reason. Let's see what he does. Okay, he gets an auto attack off, he keeps autoing, he keeps autoing. Good auto attack there. A bad one. Okay, he gets rooted, that's a bit sad. He's really out trading him with these Qs apparently, right? Let's see if he gets an all-in on him with Ignite. It's a bit limit testy if he gets an all-in or not, right? He wants to chip his HP a little bit down, right? Gets a really good EQ, I was exactly thinking of that. But apparently the champion just has too much sustain, so it's a bit hard. But apparently the Viego is coming, Echo is around, we can collapse on the Echo, he doesn't care. He goes right now, he commits to it. I think he really easily could ban fight his Echo and his Rengar, but Zed is rotating too, so it's kind of a bummer. So Zed is rotating, he's getting pinged, he observes it. He's fighting, okay. Okay, his combo was quite fast, Echo couldn't exactly react to it with his ultimate, right? He's fighting because he knows for a reason that there is no get out, right? You got to fight. You got to fight and hopefully pick up a kill, he chip their HP down, right? He even gets an assist on the Zed, which is like really well played by his side. I'll throw... Yep. Okay, he picks up the kill. They got the push down. So the enemy team, they have 3 AD champs. he would go probably plated steel caps, or he greets for more damage. I would just generally go plated steel caps from my honest opinion.
AD，你 ID 取得真好，本猫很喜欢，下把一起
He
吗？
doesn't really want mobility for some
猫
reason.
神降临，我靠
He
！QAQ，
brought
我靠，
Spice
这两
Boots,
个人
Float
不对
Armor.
劲起来了。
I mean, I would value. Oh, he actually, yeah, he does buy. So let's see what he does.
QAQ
He rotates top
QWQ，
lane, Fizrikas. Um, I mean, he could simply just rotate for. So he just wants to invade the enemy jungler, apparently.
这两个人开始不对劲了啊，有股男童的味道。QWQ，
I mean, I was thinking he could help around Drake, right? But his team doesn't really need him, doesn't necessarily need him. So well, Drake is not as valuable as taking like these minions plus the bot side camps, so he's like in a really strong spot right now with his Wukong. I do believe Rengar is doing these things, so I think he should ban hover around. He could even double you. Oh no. So he picks up the wave, he picks up the top side of the enemy jungler. Echo should be around bot side right now, he is, so what he generally should do in here, he shoves, he picks up the bot side of the map, then he picks up, I mean the top side of the map, he maybe picks up mid wave or Herald, up to him. Yep, he even leaves those minions for a little bit of a tempo advantage. Picks them up. Yep. Wukong's clear got a little bit like buffed as well, his jungle clear, right? So he can secure these objectives really quickly with his Q, and with his E he deals a lot of damage. He got buffed. It's kinda hard for him to all in a plated steel caps W up Rengar, but I wouldn't even like value that much to fight this Rengar. He actually gets an all-in angle. The guy flash ults away, huh? Yeah, apparently this guy really got really the mechanics on the Wukong. Yep. Like really
他回多少次血我
mechanically
也能打死
talented.
他。
He could even use his E, by the way, to push a little faster, of course, but it's not a big deal if he didn't use it. I assume he didn't use it earlier to layer more correctly his Divine Thunderer, right? Yep. So let's see what he does. He doesn't really want to recall.
W 能穿墙，
He's got revealed by the plant,
是
but
加强过 W 能穿墙。
picks up the plant, he heals, picks up 2 plants. Okay. Let's see if he commits with flash. I do believe he could ban comprehend this situation, because here's the thing, he flashes in, he gets W as well, he can go get out of the enemy base with his own W later on. I do believe he could ban comprehend this situation in here, as I see it, right? Oh, he actually gets in right now. A bit late, but he got the spirit. I mean, Nami appeared right now, but I guess it was all planned. He guess it was all planned. He waited for the Nami as well to come out, so he gets a double kill. Otherwise, she would be scared away. I assume the 2k LP big brains threat, right? He gets his dead dance, right? He can buy a Ruby Crystal, or he buys a potion. He buys a potion, really smart purchase, because the reason for that is that the game won't last too long. He will use soon his potion. There will be one or two more fights, the game's over, so It's 11 to 32, so it's even if it's a really early potion, it's actually reasonable what he did. I was even like questioning myself, but since this is solo queue and it's 11 to 32, it's like, oh, he actually like a really smart maneuver he did. Really smart maneuver what he did there, but it's still not enough because he just ults away, so not much he can do about that. So he's just pushing. By the way, there is like a build what like the rank 1 or rank 2 like on NA I think, or I'm not sure on which server, but the guy who usually rushes Blade of the Ruined King on Wukong just because it pressures more than Divine Thunderer, but Divine Thunderer is a bit better at short trading, it provides HP and its damage doesn't really like falls off, but usually Blade of the Ruined King or Trinity Force Rush is the thing that he does. Then Blade, Trinity, but sometimes you go Divine or Trinity Force into Blade, right? But Blade is like a core itemization for him. Dance is a bit better against this team comp because they got a lot of AD champs, lots of assassins of course as well. He can get really easy resets when his team is this ahead and the enemy team is this behind, so that dance is just a really good purchase. Definitely good, right? Gets really easy resets, everybody has explosive damage in his team, he has 3 assassins. They got a Samira as well, right? He has like 3 assassins in his team. Samira, really explosive damage, so that is an extremely good purchase from his side, right? Provides cooldown, damage, armor, everything what Wukong needs, so that's definitely a good purchase in here. Blade of the Ruined King is usually like a thing I saw like one of the best like Wukong players rush into Aatrox, into Yone, into his matchups where he values the slow and the mobility, where he can just kinda like run down people. But for short trades purposes, Divide is better. So you're gonna get like multiple Divine procs right now on Wukong's Q which got buffed, so a tiny bit faster you're gonna get rotations of Divine stuff, right? Samira just throws over the game apparently with the Yumi. She got a really explosive damage. But this is China, by the way, so in here people play like this, like they play as aggressively as possible, you know, like they don't give a shit, they eat like a perma fight, you know, like that's their play style. That's what they like to do. He even brought stopwatch, so stopwatch is a really smart purchase as well because here's the thing, there will be only one more fight and stopwatch is the most valuable item he can get with his gold out of every possible item, so that's the reason for the stopwatch. He could even buy GA out of it because most likely I think they got some AP champions but they don't matter too much since the ones that are AD they have more threat. That's how I see that. So for one more team fight he brought stopwatch of course, let's see if he uses it. He doesn't really commit into the Lucian or Echo with his ultimate for some reason. He wants the tankier Rengar. I mean, I don't exactly know why he's picking the. I mean, the game's over from this point, but I think it's like a bit of a bad focus from his side. He could really easily focus the other guy, but it's not really a big deal, as I said. Okay. And the game's over from this point. Yeah, so it's definitely like definitely a really good top laner, right? 2000 LP in Korea or China. I think it's China, right? It's China. I think this game was definitely well played from his part. He had some minor micro mistakes, macro mistakes, minor ones, but this was like a really good game from his side. Definitely well played. Okay, so that's it for now. I just stop the recording.